Det här är Teach Me Sweden. Det här är en historiepodcast där två komiker försöker lära varandra svensk historia genom humor, kan man säga. För att komiker kan ju inte låta bli att vara roliga. Jag heter Erik Broström.
And I'm Jonathan Rollins, and in this episode I'll be teaching Erik about a mysterious man from a mysterious place doing mysterious things.
I en villa i Sverige.
Bollnäs.
Yes,
man. We're going to talk about that. We're going to learn a little bit about torture.
Mycket tortyr. Jag har lärt mig väldigt mycket som jag ska ta med mig hem.
Stay tuned, man.
Här är jag igen i ditt hus, i lägenhet, i ditt rum. Det är inte ditt rum, men det är ett rum.
Yeah.
Ett gästrum.
It's a guest room, yeah. And my daughter's still asleep. For a week.
Ja, från förra avsnittet när vi avslutade Vasaätten.
I told her to stop taking Snow White so literally.
Eller hur? Och själv har vi ju suttit här helt tysta i en vecka och bara väntat på att trycka på räck. Och nu är det nästa avsnitt.
And that's time.
And that's podcasting.
If you are not familiar with this podcast, you've heard the intro, but I still want to give you a little bit of what this is. We're friends. We're comedians.
Yeah.
And we like history.
Det gör vi.
But we don't know much Swedish history.
Det är därför vi gillar det så mycket.
Yeah.
Vi kan det inte.
So we are interested in learning more about Sweden, but we are doing it in the way we do it, through comedy.
Yes.
So in this episode, I'm going to be teaching Erik a little piece of Swedish history.
Can't wait.
Erik is going to respond to what I give him, and we happen to like to laugh.
Exakt.
So maybe you'll laugh with us.
Förhoppningsvis.
So we're going to get into it, man. I hope you're doing all right. I didn't ask, but how are you doing?
Never ask me how I'm doing.
I should have known.
Det är bra. Det är bra. Det är bra. Du vet hur det är. Det är slutet på terminen. Man är lite trött.
Yeah.
Mycket att göra.
Same. Yep. But we power through, man. There's a few. You have a theater. You have a few shows left, right? Or are y'all done?
Vi har en engelska show. Nej, alltså när man hör det här tror jag att vi kommer nog lagt upp kanske 30 juni och 14 juli tror jag vi kommer ha lite English shows faktiskt.
Oh, nice.
För att vi har precis kommit hem från New York och Chicago och försöka hålla igång lite English shows för att det är bra att ha lite. Man måste ge expats något att kolla på.
Nice. Så det är smart too to do it at that time of year.
Eller hur? För då är det ingen svensk som går och tittar. Alltså ingen som svensk semester betyder att man inte går på teater. Så man lika gärna ta folk som är turister.
Smart.
Så det är väl det vi kommer göra. Det är presensimple.se. Boom, boom, boom.
Kolla in check it out. And the laughhouse.se for my comedy club shows. And we got a few shows up until June. So we're doing our thing, man.
Kör ni fram till midsommar eller kör ni?
No. June 3rd is the last show we have booked. We might do something June 10th.
Okay.
But nothing else there except for my first podcast, Sova Hender. We're having a live pod there. But we should do a live pod at some time.
Det vore kul. Ja.
We can do it at the Laugh House.
Vi kan göra så också. Vi kan göra
Oh yeah, even better. Yeah, so we'll figure that out. We'll gauge interest.
For sure.
Let us know if you think you would like to have us doing a live pod.
Det är typ som nu när du sitter på tunnelbanan eller på jobbet. Fast du måste ta dig till en plats. Och så måste du se oss prata i en mikrofon. Det låter väl kul?
It'll be fun live. You never know what we'll come up with.
That's true. Vi kommer få göra någonting annorlunda av det bara.
I was gonna say you don't know what we say that we don't put out there, but we kind of just put out what we did.
Det är sant. Det är ganska transparent. Det är det
yeah, so you get to get this vibe and see us come up with all this weird shit.
Oh yeah.
In person. And now we'll do it.
Okay.
Before the Russian Revolution of 1917, Stockholm was a center for political refugees who were opposed to the Russian autocracy.
Okay.
Yes. And after the so-called February Revolution in March of 1917, in which the Tsar was deposed, many of those refugees returned to Russia to participate in the creation of a new regime. After Lenin and his Bolsheviks took power in November 1917, a new stream of Russian refugees sought Sweden, because Sweden's already been looking out for refugees in the past.
Sure, yeah.
And they're white.
Yeah.
So that's just my part. We can go with the white people.
They kind of look like
They look like us. We can blend in.
Yes.
Now the majority belonged instead to the whites, who feared for their lives and property during the reign of terror that followed the Bolshevik takeover. The Grand Hotel in Stockholm became a gathering place for many of them.
What?
Yeah.
It was a refugee camp?
And some Stockholmers complained that the hotel had been completely taken over by Russian aristocrats who held court in ancient winter gardens.
Det var rika ryssar. Jaha,
They came in like, oh man, these people with they try to change the way we live and take advantage of
Please,
them.
Sweden, take us in. Can we live somewhere? Yes, an apartment. No, Grand Hotel. I think it's better.
This seems nicer. We can build a makeshift place for you all, you know.
No, I think Grand Hotel is better. Just for 2-3 years or something. Just
What's your nicest hotel?
the Grand Hotel, right?
It feels grand.
Yes. Can I have suite?
Yeah, exactly. I have sweet. They sit outside the subway. Hey. This doesn't work for me. I need Grand Hotel.
No, the Grand Hotel is... otherwise I go back to the Bolsheviks.
What kind of picture do they leave on your subway seat? When they come out?
En bild på deras smycken. Titta vad mycket jag har. Hjälp mig. Det är okej, de är döda för länge sedan. De här kan man skämta om, herregud. Oh my god.
Russian tiggare.
Oh.
That's great.
Oh my god. Russian noble.
No, exactly. Aristocratic tiggare. Russians from lower social classes and with various political affiliations also came to Stockholm.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they didn't go to the
Tiggare.
Grand Hotel.
Nej.
The Bolsheviks not only regarded the Russian aristocracy as their enemies, but also liberals and socialists from rival factions were struck by their terror. So they didn't like forward-thinking people, and they didn't like rich people. Damn, it was like...
Det var mycket regler där med Lenin och kommunisterna. Alltså.
In addition, the Bolsheviks sent agents to Sweden to manage the new regime's business and consular affairs, and to spy on political enemies and conduct propaganda.
Oh my god.
So this new regime was trying to set their sights on Sweden to make sure that these people aren't like muddy in the Russian name, you know what I mean?
Shit.
Or even trying to organize and take them back down.
Jag vet inte om det går in, men bara säga att det är din dotter som snarkar i bakgrunden. Jag bara tänkte,
I don't think it
kan vara värt att, jag är inte uttråkad. Jag är väldigt intresserad. Jag vill bara, kan vara värt att nämna bara.
Yes, if you hear snoring, it's not Erik.
It's not me, yeah.
It's not always easy to tell which side all the Russians belong to. Because you just say a Russian.
Men om bolsjevikerna körde bort de här, var de här mensjeviker då? För det var ju det var ju bolsjeviker och mensjeviker. I'm not doing your job. Fuck it. I'm just listening.
I didn't do my job, obviously.
Jag har skrivit en musikal om Stalin, så jag har Ryssland-kunskap.
Are you familiar with this?
No.
Okay. Oh, good. Thank goodness.
Oh, no.
All right. But you couldn't tell which sides they're on. And then a lot of them were using false identities too. So that also made it all muddy.
Oh,
like the Russian, you just know that it's Russians here. Who's on what side, who knows. But then they would roll over on each other in Stockholm. There were spies, there were counter spies.
Oh my God.
And it was all like a big mess all here, you know what I mean,
Jesus.
in Stockholm. The Swedish maritime minister Palmstierna wrote in his diary at the time, he said, they roll over each other in Stockholm, spies and counter spies, all in one mess, Russian everything.
Oh my god.
And he gave an expression to the Russophobia is what they called it. because everybody was scared. What the fuck is going on with all these Russians coming here?
Men ganska rimligt ändå. Alltså, om det är så mycket spioner och dubbelspioner och trippelspioner och alla bara springer och spionerar, det kan bara bli nojig.
Yeah, of course. I'm not even blaming. It's finally, I'm not even... it's rational behavior.
Like
actually.
Russophobia, okay, well, sanity fear. Alltså, på ett sätt. Alltså, det är mycket tjafs liksom.
And they said it was often the Russianness itself, rather than the individual's political aims, that gave rise to concern and suspicion. So it's just like, just because you're Russian, I'm just like skeptical.
Oh my God.
Yeah. On July 18th, the year 1919, an exiled Russian named Grigory Alexandrov entered the police station in Stockholm to report that a friend of his had gone missing.
Okay.
The missing man's name was Nikolai Ardashev. And before the revolution, he'd been the editor of a magazine in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
And he's missing now. In December of 1918, he came to Stockholm on behalf of the Russian Bolshevik regime to buy up newsprint, a commodity in which there was a great shortage in Russia. So he's just trying to load up, bring him back to Russia.
Och han jobbar för bolsjeviken här. Han köper, okay.
And Alexandrov said he'd not been able to contact his friend for 3 weeks and that he suspected a crime has been committed.
Ooh, interesting.
Various witness statements led the police to a villa with a beach plot in Bollstanäs in Upplands Väsby, north of Stockholm, where on July 27th they arrested a Russian refugee named Mohammed Bek Hajitlachev.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it. I'm figuring it out myself. His full name, Mohammed Bek Hajitlachev. He was born May 20th, 1868, or 1872 in Constantinople.
There's an option?
Yeah, because he gave different information.
Jag tyckte att det lät lite som ett annat språk var lite med i namnet där.
Yeah.
Lät inte superryskt.
Yeah, Mohammed Bek. It was like, what's it? What?
Yeah.
What are you? If you see a picture of him, it's kind of racially ambiguous too. But he was, he said, or like the word around town was that he was a Russian Cossack colonel and leader of what they called the Russian League.
Ooh, the Russian League.
And that was a thing that they called this community in Sweden.
Aha.
The Russian League.
Det ryska gänget.
Yeah. Ryssligan. They called it in Sweden. Yeah.
Ja, det är klart.
Var det Ryssligan som gör det här?
Det är lysande sicken. Det är Jönssonligan-skämt. Sorry.
Okay. But Hajitlachev fought as a white guard against the Bolsheviks during the Russian Civil War.
Oh, så han var pro-tsar, kan man säga. Eller?
Yes, pro-tsar, yeah. And he was imprisoned by the Reds, but then he was released, and he fled to Sweden.
That's you never don't release them. That's the mistake.
He settled in this villa that they had where they had the Russian League in Bollstanäs, and he became the leader.
Vad gjorde Ryssligan då?
Group of and he also published a Swedish-Russian newspaper called Ekorossi. And it was an anti-communist propaganda magazine. Huh. That he did. And he probably only paid 6% moms.
Probably.
If that. Hajitlachev came with his secretary, Mikhail Ettinger. And he claimed to have been hit hard by the Red Terror after the revolution. Both of them were given the status of political refugees when they got here. And his patriotic fervor aroused appreciation in both exiled Russian and Swedish right-wing circles. They're just like, oh, this dude, he loves Mother Russia. He's trying to do the best, but he just has to be here.
Okay.
The newspaper was only published in a few single issues, but through the publication, Hajitlachev made contact with other exiled Russians who wanted to work for the restoration of the Tsar's empire.
Jesus. Pretty delusional. Eller liksom...
Yeah, it's like, what are us
Har
20...
ni sett vad som händer?
No, listen. I believe the 12 of us, if we write well enough, everyone will be on our side.
Det går bra för kommunister, visst, men vi är Ryssligan.
Eller hur?
En liga, kom igen.
Among these were also 2 Swedish-born women, Marie Putulov and Sigrid Ronkonen. I didn't think about it until right now.
Sounds like a stupid Swedish-Finnish joke. Och sist i tävlingen kom Ronkonen, som inte klarade eller höll ut lika länge som de andra.
But they'd each been married to a Russian, and then they wanted to join forces.
Yeah.
Putulov's husband had committed suicide when he was threatened with execution by the Bolsheviks.
Jesus. Någon av deras makar, alltså one of the husbands.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
And then Ronkonen's husband had gone to the hospital because he was over masturbating.
I knew you were going there! Jag såg det komma. Jag bara, han kan inte släppa det här. Nej, måste han ju.
Now he gone to Arkhangelsk to join the White Guards in the Civil War. And she didn't expect him to return. She was just like... So she just...
Bara för att han var en dålig soldat, eller?
He doesn't seem to be ready to fight. He went there, he put on boxing gloves. I do not think he's going to make it.
Gå i krig, jag gifter om mig. Du kommer dö.
Basically. Several Tsarist officers and their wives also joined the group.
Okay.
So now they're starting to build it up.
Okay, ja.
The highest in rank was a former general named George de Gieser, whose 3 teenage children were also part of the circle. So now we got some teenagers.
Oh my God.
We got some ex-wives.
Som en cult.
Yeah. And they said they were going to reclaim stolen fortunes. That was part of their mission.
Aha, okay. Som ett steg 1 kanske.
Yeah. Hadjetlaj's plan for the group, which he called the Military Organization for the Restoration of Russian Empire. Mm-hmm. It's not a mouthful at all.
Oh, no.
It's called More. More. It was the Caesar's fortune that he claimed the Bolsheviks had stolen from their rightful owners in Russia, and then smuggled to Sweden. So he was like, those Bolsheviks that are here spying, they've been stole stuff and they brought it here, and they're hiding it here in Sweden.
Och varför skulle de göra det?
It doesn't make sense at all.
No.
But
de har allt land där borta.
Yeah, a lot.
Så för att skydda det så tar de det hit.
Yeah.
Ja,
smart. A lot of forest.
Ja.
From the beginning, intention was to raid the Bolshevik legation in Stockholm, where he claimed that large sums and possibly Russian crown jewels were hidden. Mm-hmm. So he's starting to sound completely
insane.
Legit. It couldn't be carried out for various reasons. He invested instead in kidnapping and murdering individuals whom he regarded as communist agents.
Det är ju ungefär samma sak som att återupprätta imperiet.
Yeah, and then usurping their assets. So it's like,
of course,
that's what we'll do. You know what? I can't find the shit I was looking for. So let's just kill a few people.
Yeah,
steal their shit. It's fair. All's fair in love and war.
Yeah.
The first person they targeted was a double agent, according to him.
Okay.
It was a Russian named Karl Kalve, who had worked on trade issues in the Bolshevik legation in Stockholm. In fact, Kalve was a double agent who spied on the communist diplomats on behalf of the Swedish police agency. That's Säpo now.
Okay.
So he lured the guy. He was like, "Hey man, come to Bostanäs. We talk a little, discuss business deal, have a dinner." And he's promised some nice ladies.
Gjorde han?
Yeah, so there'll be some nice ladies here.
What does that mean?
Calvé was like, "This is gonna be a good night, man."
Okay. Men vad är det för... Jag vill haka upp mig på det här. Han bara, there's gonna be some nice ladies. Bara för att du sa det med rysk dialekt, då tänker jag direkt att de är prostitutes. Men det kan ju bara vara typ att såhär, there's gonna be some nice ladies there. Men för att du sa det typ såhär, there's gonna be some nice ladies. Jag bara, ew. Men det är ju mina fördomar. Men det lät så.
It's pretty much what he was trying to get him to think it's gonna be a seedy, like it's gonna be a nice, yeah. Maybe he didn't say it like that, but I'm thinking that too. I was thinking it's probably, hey man, you're gonna have some fun, you're probably gonna get some pussy.
Oh yeah.
So come to this party.
Yeah. And if you say that with a Russian accent,
you probably get some pussy.
It's the same. It sounds like prostitution.
Yeah.
Okay. So he gets there.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, come with me and to this torture chamber.
Oh my God.
And they had arranged this torture chamber. It had a heavy dog collar that got fastened with a chain to a hook in the wall.
Is it a torture chamber or is it a sex dungeon?
You are now the gimp. You will live in a treasure chest until we find a big black man walking across the street. And a boxer.
The dog? No. The profession. The sport.
What type of boxer? What do you mean? So there was a trial later and everything, and there was some testimony that came out, and they say Hadjetlache jumped up and down and let out voluptuous howls as he tortured Calvia to force out of him information about stashed communist money that probably didn't exist.
So
while they're torturing this guy, he's like jumping up and down. Tell me where it is. You'll know where this is.
Having the time of his life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I have the time of my life.
Nobody puts the gimp in the corner.
Nobody put the gimp in the corner. He's all excited. They say he finally strangled Calvia.
Okay.
With a noose. And ended the execution with a pistol shot to the head.
Whoa.
The body was then wrapped in fabric, lashed with chains, and dumped in an ice river in Norrviken.
Jesus.
After the murder, one of the group's members went to Calvia's apartment where he confiscated some jewelry and cash. And then there was a Russian Jewish man named Yuri Levitsky. And he lived for a few months on a grand scale. He was one of these aristocrats at the Grand Hotel, and he was considered to display large fortunes. In May of 1919, the general's daughter, who was 16, was tasked with luring this victim to Bolstanas under the pretext that he'd be allowed to participate in a party.
Another one, a party with a good bit of nice girls. Okay.
In the villa, Levitsky was tied to a chair in the torture room, where he was forced to write checks on his bank balances.
Inte lika jobbig tortyr som den förra Calvin i alla fall.
And then, but I would have been like, hold on, I thought these people had some jewels. Like, we're just robbing people now.
Eller hur?
I thought this doesn't seem as honorable as you made it sound. But.
Also, what kind of a fucked up party is this?
No, I'm talking about the people who are helping him.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just like, all right, for Mother Russia, we're going to get these people who stole our stuff. And then they're like, wait a minute. He's writing checks to us now?
Han på ylar där nere. He's howling and shit. Känns inget bra.
He shot that one in the head before. I don't know if I like this shit. He's making them write checks? What the fuck? This ain't my jewels. While Hadjetlache went to Stockholm to redeem the money, Levitsky made an escape attempt.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to get out of it.
Was that short?
It was there because he was stopped by, among others, Sigrid Ronkonen. Which is the guy who, remember?
Just det. Så, de har fått nog, eller?
And he hit him with a kitchen hook.
Oh, shit.
And put him to sleep with chloroform.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Tintin style. That's out of a Tintin album. That's a lot of chloroform there.
And then some other League members finished the murder by stomping on a fire fork they placed over his throat.
Ooh. What the... Okay. Ew.
Yeah. Nikolai Ardashev, whose disappearance led to the unraveling of all of the stuff, was the third victim.
Oh, shit.
He was subjected to sadistic torture before being strangled to death by Hajetlache and dumped in Norrviken as well. I saw the bags, too, that they put these bags around him, or this fabric around him, and sewed it up, and chains around that. Looks horrible.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He had a death list, allegedly, with more people that he was going to go after. There were 4 more people on the list, but they never found any more bodies besides those 3.
Men man vet inte om han kanske har dött.
Right.
Okay.
And the police concluded that the League probably only managed to carry out these 3 murders before it was exposed by the friend of the guy. So the trial against Mohammed Bek Hajetlache and his accomplices began in August of 1919 and was under massive, as you would probably guess, press coverage. They were like, wow. Like, this shit happened in Sweden?
Oh, shit.
The reporters did not mince words in their descriptions of those involved. They said, he was a dirty Russian man. No.
Yeah.
Stockholm's Dagblad wrote that there was a large element of Russian and Semitic physiognomy among the audience. I've never heard that word before.
Doesn't sound good, though.
And Nia Dagligt Alejandra used descriptive terms such as Berg physiognomy. They used Berg in there.
They did?
Physiognomy. I'm guessing because when they tortured him, they probably did some gayish shit.
So it is Pulp Fiction.
And black bandit faces is what else they said.
Jesus.
To describe the appearance of Hajetlache and his male cronies.
Wow.
In the paper. So they were just making this like a thing, man. And the readers were told that Sigrid Ronkonen was mad. No, I'm just kidding. Came across as vulgar and squeamish.
Okay.
While Dagmar de Gieser was sometimes portrayed as brazen and cruel. Sometimes as a teenage femme fatale.
Så rättegången blev mot hela huset, lite alla inblandade.
Yeah, all of the Ryssligan.
Just det. Hela Ryssligan var där.
A lot of effort was put into the court to find out if Hajetlache was who he pretended to be. And his slightly fantastic description of life really and if his life, his description really corresponded to the reality. According to his own information, he was born in 1868 in Constantinople, but descended from a Caucasian landowner family. If you see him, like I said, he didn't look, I don't know. He looked like he was mixed up with something. Maybe some Middle Eastern and white and stuff.
Han ser inte ut att tala sanning.
He looks like a liar.
Yeah.
He said he was a colonel in 2 different regiments.
Oh, det är alltid bra. Bra bedrift.
Participated in a Russian expeditionary force. He participated in the balloon expedition. No, he said he was connected in the Boxer Rebellion, not the dog, in 1900, and on Russian behalf to have carried out propaganda among Muslims in India and the Far East. However, nothing could be proven. The stuff that he said.
Väldigt mycket han gjorde. Men sen så bara, nej, Sverige.
And he was telling the people in his crew that his money that he was getting from them was getting sent back to Russia. But it turns out it was going to his wife in Paris.
A French wife, indeed, of course. Sacre
He said, I'm sending it to the, the fighting white units in Russia, is what he was telling them.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah. They have 5 children and his wife, and he was just... Can you write another check to Priscilla?
Hur har han tid med 5... När gjorde han barn?
Who knows? And they didn't even live in Sweden.
Yeah.
But they probably had refugee status in France, I'm guessing.
Sure. Yeah.
The total value of that he had was 75,000 crowns that he got from these crimes, corresponding to roughly 1.3 million today.
Wow.
When his accomplices, who had seen their participation in crimes as a patriotic act, were forced to realize their leader had deceived them, most of them turned on him. Of course.
Klart.
And they considered that they were led behind the light, and they testified that the leader had an almost hypnotic influence over them.
Sektledare.
I was going to say cult leader style.
Yeah.
They said that they thought the killings were acts of war, and they were doing what's right for Mother Russia. But it was clear to them now that he was doing it on his own. And he was like, no. These were acts of war. And he said that, he said that he was really doing this for the right reasons, even though you still weren't sending the money to...
Shit. Han gillade bara att skada människor. Han ville bara... Jesus.
Much of his defense consisted of detailing the communist terror in Russia. Kind of smart.
Precis. Så därför här i Sverige så måste jag göra så här.
Yeah, as if the atrocities of the Bolsheviks were an extenuating circumstance, and that in order to match their deviance, I had to do that here in Sweden.
Såklart.
Among the Swedish bourgeoisie, where many had regarded him as a man of high ideals, the revelation of the brutal murders came as a shock. Like, nej.
Han som var så trevlig.
Rumors abound that there was in fact communists who staged the crimes to discredit the whites. Of course, that wasn't true, and that reasoning failed. And then they started blaming the barbaric act on the fact that they're not Swedish.
Oh.
Many of the writers saw the murders as a pretext for closing the borders.
Wow.
To Russian refugees, and preferably deporting the Russians that are already here. It's like SD got a head start.
Vad smidigt. Shit.
It's like, all right, let's just flip this.
Shit.
There's a magazine called Sjöfartstidning, Gothenburg's Handels- och Sjöfartstidning. And they wrote, Oriental fashions do not fit in with our Western values.
Wow. Just had to dra alla över en kam där.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of all the Russians. Some of them, 3 of them.
And then Västgötabladet feared that Sweden's prisons would be overcrowded with Russian criminals if they came in. Because they're all
herregud. Wow, vilket fan ta tillfället i akt och...
Yeah.
Herregud.
And they said out as soon as possible with them, either they are Bolsheviks or reactionaries. They bang just as loud. To us, they are raw barbarians.
Wow.
The trial ended in May 1920. Hajetlache was sentenced to death by guillotine.
That's a good punishment.
And then in 1921, the death penalty was abolished. So they converted his sentence to a life in prison.
Okay.
Sentence. The other league members were sentenced to varying terms from 6 months up to 8 years. And then the sentence was passed. And Hajetlache was, at the time, he was at Långholmen, and he was in the portion of the prison for the mentally ill.
Okay, makes sense.
And he didn't speak to his fellow prisoners. He devoted himself mostly to writing what the prison guards called confused religious investigations.
Yep.
As well as reading books in Russian and Persian that were ordered for him from the Uppsala University Library.
Wow.
He tried to get a pardon in 1929,
Smart.
Hey man, remember the 3 people I murdered?
Come on. It was like 8-9 years ago.
Come on. Come on. And he was denied a pardon application. And then, and that was in 1929. And on November 4th, 1929, he died of a stroke.
Oh. The rejection. Couldn't take it.
And then Nia Dagli Alejandra wrote, that was the paper at the time, that said that who he was, no one knows to this day. Not even his accomplices know anything about his past.
Wow.
So it was a mystery. And that's the story of Ryssligan and Hadjetlache.
Crazy man. That's a crazy story. Jag älskar dina stories. Jag vet aldrig vart de ska ta vägen. De är så woohoo.
And we got this was given to us by a listener, and I feel bad that he wrote me. He gave me Christopher again.
Oh yeah,
Christopher. He was like, I know I've sent you some before, but you gotta do this.
Okay, jag börjar bli lite trött på de här shoutoutsen, men shoutouts till Christopher då.
Yeah, man.
Skojar bara. Det är jättetrevligt.
Yeah, so appreciate that. And if you have any stories you want to send to us, it's teachmesweden@gmail.com. Send it in English like Christopher did, and that's how I know it's for me. Or send it in Swedish, and then Erik will do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah,
nu när jag är klar med alla kungar. Eller alla Vasakungar i alla fall. Kan jag börja hugga in i de där godbitarna.
Yeah, man. But you can also be a Patreon subscriber.
Just det. Ge lite pengar. Vi blir glada. Du blir lite fattigare.
It's patreon.com/teachmesweden. You get extra stuff like ad-free episodes. Who wants ads?
Ingen vill ha det.
Ad-free episodes. You get to show us that you care about us and reward us for the work that we put into this. And you can also get video episodes when we have the capability. We don't for this one, but normally we do.
Men oftast.
Yeah.
Just nu har vi inte det, för vi har inte råd, för vi har för få Patreons.
All right. Thanks for checking this episode out. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Erik Broström.
Teaching you Sweden.
Och fred.